Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your podcast host on today's episode. And today's guest is Gareth Love, Managing Director of Mortgage Experts. So excited to have him as a guest on the show today. We're going to share a little bit about his journey to business ownership, challenges he's faced along the way, and some of the best practices that he's learned to give you that inside scoop to what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Well, welcome, Gareth. It is so nice to have you on the show today.
Thanks very much, Kay. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Well, let's dive in. Share a little bit about yourself and the business.
My name is Gareth Love from the Mortgage Experts. I've been a business owner for just coming up to about 8 years now, based in the Midlands in the UK. Not very sunny here, very cold outside, but it's been a great week.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, tell me a little more about mortgage experts. Dive into kind of the nuts and bolts of the company.
Sure. So our business, the Mortgage Experts, we're a mortgage brokerage. So we provide mortgage and protection advice for all different types of people in the UK. So people that are buying their first home or remortgaging their home or maybe buying investment property. And that's what the business does. And then for us, our model is very much a self-employed mortgage broker model. So we'll encourage and help and support mortgage brokers to come under our network and then set up their own business within that. And we support them with their business coaching and their business planning and how to grow their business and to achieve the goals that they have as well.
Oh, that's incredible. So I'm really curious to learn more about that. So you bring in independent brokers into, are they still working independently under you, or are you taking them on more as an employees?
So they tend to work under our brand, the brand of the
Okay.
mortgage expert. So the theory behind this in the UK, so mortgage broking has always been a thing. That's the best place to go and get a mortgage from if you're looking to buy a property. And traditionally, that'd probably look like going to see a bank or a building society or an employed mortgage broker who works out of a business, and the broker would do a great job. They work some really long hours and it's very stressful and all those sort of things. And they get rewarded, they get their salary and they might get a bit of commission or a bit of a bonus if they do a really good job. And in our business, what we recognized is it's a quite an entrepreneurial business. So there's a lot of people out there that want to earn sort of better money or free up their time or have more of a work-life balance. So what we've created is a self-employed model to give people exactly that. So to help them earn more money, to free up their time and to get a better work-life balance. So I work with a business partner of mine who is passionate about self-employment and supporting people to grow their businesses. And it was really something that started in 2017, so it was like 8 years now. My background was always I worked for a family business. So my parents had a very similar business, an estate agency or real estate agency, as it's called over the pond. And they had a mortgage brokerage as well. So that's what I did. I sort of, excuse me, worked for the family business for many years before sort of starting on my own back in 2017. So it's been finance and this, real estate is all I've ever worked in really. I've got a few other businesses that are slightly different to that, but this is the core. This is the core of what I do. So yeah, we're just passionate about the industry. It's very stressful for people when they buy a property because you found the house that you want and you've got all these legal hurdles to jump through and all the mortgage applications and the paperwork and the stress and everything. So it's a very rewarding job, rewarding business as well. To see that the outcome of it is growing our business, but to seeing how happy that makes other people that use our services is really fantastic.
For sure. When I think about purchasing a home, it's just like, yeah, all the steps. So having this is a very incredible business. You mentioned you have, the brokers working under your brand. Now, do you have employees as well? And if so, how many employees do you currently have?
So in excuse me, in the wider group, we have probably around 250 to 300 people. In terms of employed and self-employed, it's probably a split of two-thirds self-employed and one-third employed. So the people that are on the front lines of sales, if you like, are the self-employed model. Of course, there's a place in the business for employed people. There's people that perform functions in the business, the accountancy and the finance and the marketing and all those sort of things where we've got employees in the business. But it's very much a balance between having those self-employed people that can come and be part of this, and we can support them and take away the worry and the fear of becoming a business owner, and we'll support them through that. But they're still part of that. We don't treat them any differently. So, our business, we like to think we're quite an entrepreneurial business. We like people to own the role that they do. So, however you pay your tax, whether you're self-employed or employed, it's largely irrelevant to us. It's all about sort of, in my head, I know what a process that we want and what a really good process looks like, and whatever part you play in that process, you need to own that part of it and make that role your own, and do that to the absolute best of your ability, regardless of whether you're employed or self-employed.
Oh, definitely. That's incredible. When you talked a little bit about you provide some coaching to your brokers, or you provide some educational component. Can you share more about that part of it?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a passionate believer in coaching and having a business coach, because every aspect of life, whether it's elite sports people, so if you're Lewis Hamilton, the British Formula One driver, or if you're, I think of famous sports people now, Case Rory McIlroy, the golf pro, those guys at the absolute pinnacle of their sport, they have a coach. So the reason that I'm so passionate about it is because one of our core values as a business is to be the best version of yourself, and to continue to always be the best version of yourself. And sometimes to get the best out of yourself, you need somebody there to give you a bit of accountability, regardless of your position within the business. So for us, that works really, really well, and that translates into how we work with our team. So what we do, we'll tend to sit down with all of the brokers, mortgage brokers at this time of year, towards the back end of the year, and start really planning for what does next year look like? Where do they want to be in December 2025? So where do you want to be at that point? And then we'll look at, if you want to be here, what steps do you need to take, and what needs to happen to ensure that those things do happen and those dreams come true? And we work through that together. And then we take it one step before that, and we look at the issues. So what issues could there be that stop the things that need to happen happening? And then as a business, we'll communicate with those people as much as they need us to. So some brokers that we work with, they like to speak to us on a daily basis, which is absolutely fantastic. There's some brokers that want to be weekly, monthly, maybe even quarterly. It's different for everybody, because what I've recognized is that not everybody's the same in business. So, there are people that have different sort of aspirations, different methods that they work to, different sort of mindsets, and different belief systems. So there's not a one size fits all approach to it. So we have to be quite fluid with how we work with those people. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's not without its challenges, but yeah, it's so fun.
Definitely. Well, let's dive into some of those challenges, and like what are some of the things that you're facing within that sphere of the business?
So that's a great question. So we've probably got sort of we have different challenges, and a challenge isn't a thing to be afraid of. I strongly believe that the challenges are the people that are most successful. I find, and I like to sort of surround myself with people that are doing similar things, or maybe in different industries, but sort of learning from people that are probably further ahead than where I want to be. And one of the things that's sort of a common theme through all of that is the people that are most successful are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So if to put that into context, sometimes there's challenges that we can control, there's challenges that we can influence, so we can't control them, but we can perhaps influence them. And then there are challenges, things like the economy and what's happening, with different governments changing, and what happens in the wider fiscal economy and things like that. There's things that we can't control. So, we have to be comfortable with that, and we have to not sort of use it as an excuse as to why we haven't made things successful. But we also can't use it as we can absolutely use it as a driving point. So if we're comfortable with the fact that there's always going to be uncertainty in our industry, there's never going to be a time. I don't think I've ever worked in a time where we've just had like a sustained period of normality, if you like. So it's always been, we over here in the UK, we had like we had the global credit crunch, didn't we, when I first started being a mortgage broker, and that took sort of many years to get over the global financial crisis. We then had a Brexit vote over here where people voted to leave the European Union. After that, we had COVID, and after that, there's been the problems with the economy. So there's always been something. So that's an example of things that we can't control. What we want to focus our attention on is the things in our business that we can control. So, refining our processes, looking at things that improving our technology to make efficiencies in the business. So we'll deal with thousands of people every year, thousands of customers, but there's even more customers that go into the top of our sort of sales funnel. So our biggest opportunity right now is to work with the people that are in the ecosystem somewhere, and perhaps if we're relying typically on human interaction to nurture those clients through to the point that they become a client of ours. That's one approach, and I'm not saying it's a bad approach. I think we need human interaction, but it's how can we use technology and the advancements of technology to get the most and to retarget those people. So that's one thing. There's challenges, I suppose, with our sort of marketing and making sure that we keep ourselves ahead of the game with what we're doing and our competitors out there. We thankfully have our in-house marketing team are absolutely electric. They're fantastic. So we work with those guys very, very closely, and there's a whole suite of things that we're looking to do. There's some big opportunities for us as a business in terms of acquisition at the moment. So our industry in particular is quite an old industry. I think the average age of a mortgage broker in the UK is well into the 50s. Which is a scary, scary thought, really, because there's not a huge influx of people coming into the industry. So, bearing in mind that somewhere between 85 and 90% of mortgages in the UK are done by a mortgage broker, and we've got a really old, load of mortgage brokers that are going to be retiring soon. Getting more people into the industry is going to be a big challenge for us, and then we want to look at acquiring businesses as people tend to retire. So that's another challenge. So I could talk about 50 different challenges today, which I won't bore everybody with, but the real challenge is balancing that and maximizing on the opportunity that we've got.
Well, thank you for sharing about that. That's incredible. And just seeing, like, you're so right. I like how you put those three types of challenges out there, and that really, I think, can help people, especially business owners, to kind of remember, like, we can change what we can, but like there's
Don't
some
worry about
things
the
we
rest.
just can't. Yeah, just kind of leave the rest and do what we can. So I think that's really incredible. Looking at where your business is going, say in the next 3 to 5 years, what are some of the things and the goals that you want to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years?
So it's quite interesting actually because we had quite a big meeting about this with all the different parts of the businesses that we work as sort of in conjunction with, and our big target really is. I'm a big believer that you need to have. You find I can't remember who said this, but it's certainly not me, so I won't take the credit for it. But you need to have a goal, double it, and then make it even bigger. That's sort of our mindset. So there's no point saying that we want to grow 10% next year and maybe 10% the year after that. For me, that's not exciting and it's not a big enough of a challenge. I think that if we can set a goal right up here, a massive end goal in 5 years' time, and we just break down the steps to see what that looks like. So essentially, for us, in the next 5 years, we want to quadruple the size of our business. My big target, it's not a monetary target necessarily. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and pretend as a business owner that money's not a driver for me, because it absolutely is. That's what I'm here for. That's what I enjoy. But my big target is to create a business which is. We have a saying in the UK that things are cliques. Like a little clique can be a good thing or a bad thing, and tends to be a bad connotation. So you have little cliques of people in schools or in sports clubs or in other parts of society. But I want to create a positive clique in the business where if you're in it, you don't want to leave it. And if you're not part of our business, that you want to come and be a part of our business. And the way that we'll do that is by creating an environment where people can really flourish within what they do. So that's all sorts of things to do with culture and everything like that. But really, it's giving people the tools, the education, the support, and the guidance to achieve what they want to achieve. And if we can do that, and it makes the business a place where people feel really comfortable and happy, then we'll become a big attraction brand for people, and a lot more people want to join. So we'll ramp up our recruitment from that. And the upshot of that will be that the income for the business will obviously grow over the next 4 years. So it's very much focused on creating an environment and improving the processes that we have to make things easy to do for people. So if things are easy, they get done. So if we can create an environment that's really easy to transact mortgages in the UK for a broker, and we can give them all the support that they need, they'll want to come and be a part of what we do. We also want to take away the sort of boring sides of the job, if you like, because shockingly there are some boring sides, the compliance and the paperwork and that sort of thing. So if we can take that sort of stuff away from brokers and leave them to focus just on the bit of the role that they enjoy doing, which is speaking to customers and doing the deals, then that way we'll be able to attract more and more people. So the big 5-year target is to quadruple the size of the business.
Mm.
and that won't be without its challenges. But I see that as that's the exciting thing for me. That the day to day, the day to day needs to be done, doesn't it? But the exciting thing is the growth and seeing the steps along the way and having the and celebrating the small wins as you get there. I think is a big thing as well. So having sort of goalposts to go right. We're going to get to this point by this time and working towards that. That's the stuff that I love.
Oh, that's incredible. That's firing me up. That's super exciting. This has been such a fun conversation so far, and I'd like to take us right into our next part of our conversation, which is our rapid fire questions, where you answer the first thing that comes to your mind, very top of mind answers. And we have 4 questions. Gareth, are you ready for some rapid fire?
I am.
All right. Question number 1 is, what is a key to success for you?
The key to success for me is having a plan, keeping it fluid because sometimes plans need to change, but having the sort of mental fortitude to keep going even when things get tough. So being successful means having a plan, being organized, sticking to it, but not being afraid to change your plan or pivot slightly if that's what's needed.
Very powerful. And number 2 is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
My biggest piece of advice that I learned from my business partner, who's one of the greatest people, the greatest influences on me. He's a fantastic guy. He said to me once when we first started working together that if things are fair and reasonable and they are mutually beneficial, why would you not do them? So he's always had this fantastic way of interacting with people where in the 8 years that we've worked together, I've never seen him raise his voice. So
Mm.
he's never raised his voice to anybody in his teams. He's always there to help people. And I think that society has moved on quite a lot now. So you don't need to be, a hard taskmaster banging on the table. To get the best out of people, you've got to be
Mhm.
helpful and supportive.
Oh, I love that. Number 3 is, what is a piece of content? Could be a book, a podcast, a show, anything you've taken in most recently.
I've got two things. If I can share two things. So number one, and I don't want to plug anybody, but number one, I went to a Tony Robbins event called Unleash the Power Within
Mhm.
in Cologne in Germany in September, which was one of the most powerful things I've ever been to. I was a little bit close. I've always been very open-minded, but I was a little bit closed-minded, thinking, "Oh, is this going to be a bit, cool tea? Is it going to be something like that?" It was absolutely fantastic. So that's great. I also love, particularly as a business owner, there's a number of books and podcasts, audio books by a guy called Daniel Priestley. One of them is Key Person of Influence, and there's a lot of other books in there that they're fantastic. But more so than just individuals, my big thing would be never stop learning. So we always want to continually improve and be better, and I love that stuff. I must get through. I bet I'm an audiobook person when I'm at the gym and when I'm walking the dog and stuff like that, or in the car because music gets a little bit boring after a while. But I think I could comfortably get through 50 books in a year.
Wow, that is goals. Thank you for sharing that. And for our final question today, if you could wave a magic wand and rapidly overnight change one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. If I could change one aspect of the business, I would gear the business up to support people that are coming into the industry. And this is something we're going to do. I'd love to be able to change a wave of magic wand and make it happen overnight because it's a time thing. But I would have a process. I'd gear up a process to help and support people that want to come into the industry because I firmly believe that where we are in the UK, I think society is getting a lot more entrepreneurial. People don't want to be tied down into jobs. They don't. My parents were never these people, by the way, but there's a lot of parents out the way that used to say, get a good trade, get a secure job, go and work for a company. And I just don't believe in that. So what I really want to do is create an environment for people that want to, be business owners, be entrepreneurial, to help and support those people and have a route into our business for that because it's something that's probably lacking a little bit. In our industry in the UK because it's quite an old-fashioned industry. So yeah, that's what I do. The other big change I'd make is I'd wave a magic wand and every single bit of technology that we'd ever use would work every single time without fail because sometimes it doesn't.
Amen to that. Oh, well, that is incredible. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. How can people connect with you online?
So my LinkedIn page, I think you should Gareth Love. You get my big face on LinkedIn there. So yeah, LinkedIn's a great way to do it. I'm always one of the big passions that I have is sort of learning from other people. So I always think that if I can learn 1% from 50 different people, I've improved my business by 50%. So yeah, I'd love to connect with people. LinkedIn's probably the best way to do that. I'm quite active on there as well. So find me on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Gareth. And for our final question today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring to me is two things. So I work with some fantastically entrepreneurial people, which actually I genuinely love spending time with as well. So that there's some people in our business that are really fun and enjoyable. My two best friends in the world are both entrepreneurial, so they both run their own businesses. Both their wives run their own businesses as well. My other half is a gave up a legal career to be a full-time YouTuber and has been really successful at that. So I've got so many influences in my life. But I think the thing that keeps driving me at the moment is just having a mindset which is not a closed mindset. So having a mindset of I wonder what's possible if I do this, and just seeing where not really having an end goal and just seeing what's possible. That's what keeps driving.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That was so inspiring. And just like for being on the show today and sharing with the listeners, this was incredible. So thank you so much, Gareth, for taking the time today to chat with me.
Thank you very much, Kay.